Hey everybody, it's your hospitality friend Glenn here, and I'm confused. I know it's pretty much how I am every single day of life, but I'm getting really confused because technology is moving so fast, and we're all trying to figure it out right now. And I feel like we're at an inflection point, both inside and outside, with technology, and I didn't know what to do about it. So I called my therapist over here, Charif Zahrane, managing partner with M7 Services, and hopefully today we'll work it out. Charif, am I right? Things getting really confusing? Are we at a turning point? What's going on?
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, Glenn, thank you again for having me again.
Sure.
I couldn't have said it better. It's confusing, and that's probably why we have a job here. Um,
I
you
know.
know,
Are you doing it on purpose, Sharif?
it's the technology
Yeah,
ecosystem ever changing in this industry and in hospitality, and
yeah.
the disruption that we have seen for the past couple of years, or few years at least, right? Have things, it depends on which angle you look at it, either better or worse, right? Where it's getting more confusing, and I'm calling disruptions because it is a disruption from a hotel operator standpoint, right? Where they have to spend time, attending to their guests and customers. Now you have technology that gets on top of that. So MSPs, were a few years ago, 3, 4, 5 years ago, have had challenges with their identity in hospitality. This is not an issue anymore. We went from operators trying to understand what an MSP is in the past and
Mhm.
what they do, to now trying to see, okay, which MSP should I partner with. So I think the issue of too much technology and too much disruption. We're getting to the point right now where we're seeing a light at the end of the tunnel with the help of multiple operators. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm seeing like a massive change right now on the scale of us going from analog to a digital world. And now things are just completely changing all again. And everything we thought we knew needs to be reconsidered because it's being reinvented no matter what we like. But Sharif, one of the areas I think that there's great opportunity is to really change the way we perceive how we utilize technology. For too long, it's just like, oh, I got to spend my money. Now I feel like it's more like, oh, now we could really utilize these tools to save money and make more money. How do you see that?
Absolutely. I think, that shift that you get exactly mentioned right now, IT and technology in general, has been
Hmm.
shifting from a cost center to more
Yeah.
of a business driver, right? I mean, I come from an era, I've been in the industry for too long. I come from an era where the IT guy was sitting in the closet, IT closet, at the bottom of the hotel, where right now we're sitting the
All right.
same.
And to be fair, he did like it down
Right.
there alone in the closet.
Exactly. I loved
Yeah.
it back then. Right?
Yeah.
But now it's different, right? Now we have to sit on that decision making table when it's more of
Hmm.
a business driver. It's an enabler of hotel. Whether from a guest facing technology or back of the house technology, or forecasting, or anything, any area of the business. It's whether you like it or not, it's driven by technology.
Yeah,
Um,
and it's kind of like I kind of feel like we're making that shift from like oh crap, something's wrong, get the guy to we better have this stuff figured out in advance.
Well, that's exactly it. And it's funny you said that because
Yeah.
from an MSP perspective, the bread and butter, the historical MSP, we used to be called break fix, which is exactly that, right? You call
Yeah.
IT once it breaks and they fix it, they move on.
Wait,
We
hold
have
on.
shifted.
I was a master at this. All right. Uh have you considered turning it off and on again?
There you
Bam,
go, reboot it.
95%.
Of course.
All right, go on.
It's funny you said that because that's the first thing from an SOP standpoint, an MSP is reboot the machine and see if it goes on.
Just seriously, I just like to show the IT crowd. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely, yeah.
yeah.
But now that shifted dramatically where, IT again or MSPs are more of a strategic part of it, right? We don't
Yeah.
look at brick anymore. We look at how can we drive the business? And this new AI era have shifted that dramatically too, right? Where, we're
Hold
not
on, let me stop you there before we get into the AI stuff because that gives
the
me a
buzzwords.
really big headache,
Yeah,
Sharif. But what you're really saying is that you guys know what I don't know, right? So,
there you
and
go.
that's the whole point of it. With things changing so quickly, you're never going to be in a place of confidence when it comes to technology, particularly getting to the AI point now with this new AI era, because people are loving the idea of it, but there seems to be like everything else in life, a yin yang going on. Everybody thought it was going to solve everything immediately. Now
Yeah.
everybody's realizing that's not the case. And oh, how many tokens are we using? So
Yeah.
how are you seeing things now?
Exactly. Exactly. And just to address, the issue of how you started, if a hotelier, if an operator thinks about technology too much, there's a problem, right?
Right.
And it's becoming a trend, right? Where all they think about is technology because of all the buzzwords and the disruption. Coming to AI, and I'm probably going to look at it a little bit differently. It's beautiful. I agree, it's the buzzword. Unfortunately, and as visiting into hospitality, I don't think we're ready yet. There was so much that needs to be fixed before we put in the AI. I think the issue that I have been seeing as of recent is a lot of gadgets, a lot of tools that are all exciting and all have ROI, and
Yeah.
it affects the front of the house, it affects the guest experience and all that. But I think what has been overlooked is, where can we put the AI on top of? We need to normalize the data first. We need to fix the
Yep.
infrastructure. We need to fix the network and security. So, fortunately enough, a lot of the technology vendors and operators, and are looking at that as of recent. Started looking at that. Let's fix our data first. Let's fix our infrastructure first before we start putting AI on top of it. I mean, to your point again, it's whether it's a chatbot, whether it's an AI on top of your revenue system management, for instance, for dynamic pricing. It works. It helps. It cut our processing time from days to minutes, right? But we need to make sure that we clean our environment first before we put AI on top of it. And I think
Right. And
that's
Sharif,
what
I'll
we're seeing against
bring up that famous phrase right now, garbage in, garbage out, right?
out. That's
And
exactly
I'm finding when I try to do certain things with AI, somebody was scraping garbage somewhere because I see it coming and it's not factual. So the folks that haven't had the opportunity to go ahead and rethink their entire system from the ground up are the ones that are going to be at a disadvantage. And that's why, Sharif, during that whole period over the last 6 years, I've been preaching get ready, get ready, get ready, because now we're not just at the starting line, but the gun's been fired and everybody's racing, right?
Oh, 100%, 100%. And I think as I mentioned, a lot of the operators, fortunately enough, have been seeing that. So we've seen, I mean, what we've been seeing, the trend we've been seeing is a lot of those operators are looking to, for instance, to clean the data, to get their
Yep.
systems connected. Because if a lack of connection, you're going to put an AI on top of PMS. If it's not well connected to the rest of your ecosystem at the
Mhm.
hotel or at the portfolio level, then you lose it all. So clean your data first, get your systems connected, and clean your infrastructure and security, and specifically security, right? I
Right.
cringe every time, an operator, reach back to us and says, okay, I'm gonna start implementing ChatGPT across the environment.
Yeah.
I cringe just because it's a lack of knowledge. It's the security issue. We've heard, people don't know. I mean, people just gonna don't secure data, guest data, information data into ChatGPT, without having security on top of it, it becomes a security issue. So again, it's not only the readability and of the environment, it's also education. So we have to educate our users and operators and
All right, so
users.
let me ask you this. Let me educate them a little bit. I keep hearing clean your data, but
Yeah,
what does that realistically mean? Because I know you're not taking out the Windex going and then wiping it down, right? But it's like I understand what you mean, but it's
yeah,
also really vague at the same
yeah,
time.
exactly. Without going deep into it,
Yeah.
the best way to describe it is not deleting, but structuring your data. So I'll give you an example. For years now, we have been hearing, before even AI, the buzz of data and collection of data. So what had happened in our industry is we have been collecting data from everywhere. We have been collecting data from Wi-Fi. So if you remember, a few years back, we don't charge for Wi-Fi anymore, but we're like, okay, give us your email address, and that's data we can collect. So we've been collecting data from there. We've been collecting data from the internet. We've been collecting data, but the problem is the data sits in a data center somewhere that is not
Right.
structured. It's there without being even utilized. So the
So
best
I've got if I'm in my backyard and I'm trying to do some planting, I've got one bucket that's just of from the webmails, another bucket that's from the loyalty program, maybe if I'm an independent hotel,
okay,
another bucket that's from inquiries through the web from people coming into the to our system, that sort of thing, right?
That's
All
exactly
right,
it. I think a little better than me from
great.
a geeky.
Right. And then you combine all of those different buckets of data dirt, and then you're going to be able to grow something really beautiful once it's all together. I just love
And you
that.
structure it correctly. That's
Yeah.
100% it.
All right. I'm having a good description day here, Charif. I got
Yeah,
to
yeah.
tell you, I'm very excited about that, but not as excited as I am about how smart the folks like you are over at M7. Before we go, it would be a shame if I didn't ask you to just say, tell me a little bit more about M7services.com.
Sure. And again, we're a managed service provider, the MSP in short. I think, as I said, the unique of M7 is we've been built in hospitality, and trust me, it's a hard thing to be.
Yeah.
I speak with other MSPs that support any other industries, and it's completely different. This industry is tough, right? We lack, sustainability. We support multiple brands. We're 24/7. We have the multiple vendors that we have to work with. The model of M7, again, from an MSP perspective, or
Mhm.
for any other hospitality MSP, is we can't just think of us as the outsourced IT of the property. Think of us as that local IT guy that support the property, right? Where any IT issue comes to us. So it's not, regardless if it's your laptop or desktop or server, we also support HSIA and DMS and POS. And so we have to have the knowledge to support all these different vendors within the industry. And that's what makes it a little bit challenging in our vertical, which is hospitality. And that's what makes us a little bit unique, I guess, in this sector, just because we're a hospitality vendor. We are a hospitality MSP. And we have shifted from a few years ago, as I mentioned earlier, many years ago, from a break fix MSP like any other MSP to now be a strategic partner from an IT perspective. So we don't only do break fix, we are your security partner, we are your application partner. We work with, even the brands have shifted as of recent. So the brands are formalizing MSP, where in the past nobody knew what an MSP is. And you have brands formalizing HSIA and GRE and other technologies. Now the brands are looking at formalizing MSPs and making us, part of the ecosystem of technology and hospitality in general.
Yeah, well, Sharif, I really appreciate you being here. And quite frankly, everybody knows MSP is an airport up in Minneapolis. So I don't know what you're.
That way, never thought about that, but yeah, that's good.
All right. Sorry. I'm just being dumb today, but I may be dumb, but this guy over there,
Love it.
super smart, understanding all of these issues we're about to face. Sharif, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah,
I appreciate it. And thank
having
all of
me.
you guys for being here today at another episode of No Vacancy. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all of that kind of good stuff. And remember, you've got one life, so blaze on. See you next time.